And we need to configure the master and slave also. So what is the concept of master and slave is if you have only one master, then more jobs it can't run. Okay, so one master we can't, like if you have only one master, if multiple people are using the Jenkins, then it takes more time to run it. Okay, for the scalability, for high availability, and we want to run some jobs on Windows, some jobs on Linux. Then if we have only one Linux agent, we can't run. Okay, for all these purpose, we need to configure the nodes. So Jenkins supports master and node kind of concept, and we need to set up the nodes also. And for the nodes, what is the prerequisite is like we require an SH key. Okay, so for tomorrow, try to set up the nodes also. Okay, so as of now, here we have only one master. We have try to add the one more mission. On the new mission, we no need to install Jenkins. OpenJDK is mandatory. We need to set up OpenJDK. Then we can configure the nodes also. Today, try to practice Jenkins nodes. 1 second. Okay, so with the username only it is allowing. Let's be. So now here we'll take one, say, we'll create a project. We try to add new node. I'm going to create a pipeline. So here this is the GitHub repo. Okay, so this GitHub repo I'll fork it. Then it will become our own repo because we can add our own commits, all those also. Okay, so here we have already one Jenkins file is there, but I'll modify this one with our own Jenkins file. So this is our Jenkins file. In the GitHub I'm keeping and directly I'm committing, but instead of doing directly to this, we need to raise a pull request. All these we need to do. And copy this Jenkins code also. In this Jenkins file, instead of this, I'm going to keep our own GitHub repo. I'm copying here. Okay, so I have copied this. And what is the Maven we have? I'll change this. Let's get the error. If any changes now need to be performed, now we need to perform those changes in the Jenkins file, which is in the GitHub itself. Okay, I'll go to repo. Now, instead of this, we are going to configure the pipeline from GitHub itself. So what is the GitHub repo is? So this is the GitHub repo, and if you have any credentials, but it's a public repo, and which branch we need to check. We are in the master itself, and the file is Jenkins file. We are in the master branch. The file is Jenkins file. Now from there, it need to run it. I'm going to build it. But Maven name is still okay. So now again, I'll go to GitHub itself. In the Jenkins file, I'm going to perform the change. Maven 360. Again now I'll perform the change. So this time the job is getting executed. So from the GitHub itself, the job is getting executed. The same job, but instead of giving this in the Jenkins itself, it's recommended to give it from GitHub. Yeah, from the GitHub itself. Even if any changes or any steps need to be done, those all the stages will perform through GitHub one. From the GitHub itself, we need to perform. Okay, so now, so this is our GitHub repo. We will configure a webhook. What is the concept of webhook? If any code commit comes, automatically the pipeline need to trigger. Okay, so now if any changes has been performed, we need to configure the webhook itself. If any changes has been performed, automatically that webhook need to trigger. Okay, so now what we need to do is, say here, this is our repo. Go to settings. Go to settings. Say here we have the webhooks. So add a webhook. Now here we need to add our webhook. Here we need to give our Jenkins URL. What is the concept of webhook is? If any new code commit comes into the Jenkins, automatically the pipeline need to trigger. Okay, so now here that URL after 8080, what we need to give is GitHub hyphen webhook. Here we need to give one more backward slash also. Okay, if I don't give, it throws it won't work. And application.json. No need of secret, but for security purpose, we can add a secret also. And for which events that even need to trigger for the push. If any push comes, I'm going to trigger. Otherwise, for everything, it's unnecessarily run the jobs. For the push event in the real time recommended to do it. Otherwise, choose your individual events also. As of now, we have a webhook. I'll go to my code. I'll perform some changes. That means just I'm going to add a new file or that's a new commit assume. Normally through pull request itself, we need to do. For testing webhook. I given the new file. So now if you go to your webhook, here this webhook delivery is not successful. We need to do here one more thing. This also we need to add. I'll perform one more change. Again, I'm doing a new commit means it's a new push. So here this is able to push, but Jenkins didn't run that because third job need to trigger. Why here we didn't get is go to configure. In the configure, build trigger steps. We need to choose this option. What is that option? GitHub hook trigger for
Git SCM point.
polling. Okay, this webhook we need to configure even in the Jenkins also.
Jenkins.
So now what we need to do is, if you do any new commit now, we do any new commit, go to webhook. So now this has been pushed. In the recent deliveries, you can see. So now that has been pushed again. Now Jenkins also is going to build it. Okay, so we didn't do it manually. Who is building us?
Webhooks.
GitHub. GitHub, if any new code commit comes, even for other push events also, other events also we can configure. But as of now, we done for the push event only. Okay, so everyone try to configure the. Okay, so now in the same one, instead of webhook, I can configure poll SCM also. In the poll SCM, we need to specify the cron kind of jobs we have. Okay, cron kind of jobs. So if you configure the time or at that time, the build is going to run. Okay, so now here instead of webhook, I'm going to configure the poll SCM. So I'll go to this job, configure. Here we are not using this option. We are going to use poll SCM. In the poll SCM, like just like in the Linux cron jobs, how we can schedule. Say here you can give 5 options: minute, hour, like day of the month, day of the
Week.
week. Okay, so now here we have one expression is there. This will schedule. Okay, so for every 2 minutes, for every, okay, for testing purpose. Okay, say now this is 8:24, right? After, but here we have two options are there. What is the differences? We'll check it. So we have poll SCM is there. Another option is
Build periodically.
build periodically. There is a slight difference between those two. What are those? We'll discuss. Okay, so what are the differences between poll SCM and build periodically? So we'll check whether that build ran or not. Almost 2 minutes is done, but we didn't get any build. Okay, but now what I'll do is I'll do some changes here. I'm doing a new commit. In the real time, this will do through pull request itself. So after 2 minutes, we'll check. So we run 251. Now I think around 257. For every 2 minutes, it need to run. For 254 or 256, why it didn't run? So now it is running. Okay. So what is the difference between build periodically and poll SEM is, if any commit comes, then only poll SEM also will run at that moment. If there is no code commit,
It won't run, sir.
it won't run. At that moment also it won't run. That is the reason it didn't run at 820, sorry, 254 or 256. But now we done the changes, right? We have a new commit is there. That is the reason at 258 it ran. But build periodically, what it will do? So now I'll go for build periodically. Same setting I'm giving it to build periodically. So now, even if any new code commit is not there also, build periodically will run. We'll check at 3 that is that standard time in our 8:30 that is. Say 258, right? At 3 a.m. whether it will run it or not, we'll see. Now it automatically
Ran.
run. Okay. I hope you understand the difference between build periodically and poll SEM.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So at that schedule moment, it won't run.
If
Even
there is
commit
only,
also is required for poll SEM. But if you use build periodically,
it will automatically run after every.
yeah, automatically it's going to run whether the new changes is there or not. We no need of, because without new change, again building the same one, there is no use mostly. Okay, in the real time, we are going to use either webhook or
Poll SCMs.
webhook or poll SEM, we are going to use it. And try to configure the Jenkins master and slave also. Jenkins master and slave. Okay, so now all these days we run the Jenkins through normal installation, right? We can install Jenkins as a Docker also. So now here, what we need to create, we have created a separate network for
Jenkins.
Jenkins, then run this. Okay, so this tutorial try to finish. Okay, so we take Maven base or Gradle base, right? What this will do is Node.js, NPM, using the NPM and the for React.js, AngularJS, Node.js applications, we are going to build through NPM. Okay, so now here build Node.js and React.js, but here they're running the Docker as a, sorry, they're running Jenkins as a container itself. Using this command, try to install the Jenkins. Once you run the Jenkins, use this one also. If the image is not available, get the updated Jenkins image use. From the Docker Hub, you can get that. Okay, so once you install the Jenkins, say, go to logs and you can get that password, or you can exec, then create the user. Okay, then this repo you need to perform. From the pipeline, this repo you need to run. Okay, so in the script also you can keep this pipeline, or in the GitHub also you can keep. Okay, so try to build this Node.js kind of application. Okay, so in the middle of the step, what this input message will do is it give a prompt for the user. So here it shows a prompting, right? So user can either proceed or
Abort.
abort. Say in the middle of the job execution for some stages, in order to go to next stage, it may ask you a prompt. That means it's waiting for user.
To give the consents.
It's waiting for the user approvals. Okay, by giving the input message in the script, we can give that. By giving the input messages, we can give it. Okay, so today do these all webhook, OLACM, master node, and this node.js one.
Sir, for the nodes, sir, do we need to allocate some more disk space? Like
You need to take one more mission.
Okay, one more instance we need to
One
take.
more instance you need to take. On that JDK only is not enough. Java is not required. Sorry, Jenkins is not required.
Only JDK is required, right, sir?
JDK is required.
So how do we tag that, sir, with this?
So once you've done it, you need to configure the SH. Not so easy, but follow those. So this job is continuously running for every 2 minutes.
Yes.
The manage Jenkins node, your new node. That second mission IP, all those we need to give. But before authentication, SH key need to be generated. Those all steps you need to perform.
Okay. To connect to the master node,
Yeah.
master, right? Okay, understood.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So try to do these all the steps, and Nexus and Sonar Cube also we need to integrate. And Docker images, all these also we need to build it.
Okay.
Okay, that's we'll do in the tomorrow class.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Any other doubts? Okay, sure.
Yes, sir.